This is the Sahn Outdoors Podcast.
Dropped like a sack of taters. He's dead right there. He's dead right there.
Yep. Sean, I'm all way tweep. Now I can hear myself. It's a little bit more embarrassing when I say things like that.
You hear your voice
on.
like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be embarrassed too.
Yeah, if I had that voice. Mine's a little deeper, so it's fine.
Yeah, no big deal.
Okay. Well, we're here at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City, 2018. I'm McCade Cox.
I'm Ian Duclos.
Rocky Dettamanti.
Shedcrazy.
And Brenden Labrum.
Awesome. And we're here talking to Scout to Hunt. Brenden is one of the members of Scout to Hunt, one of the guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Brenden, why don't you give us a little rundown about what Scout to Hunt is and how it came to be?
Absolutely, yeah. So first of all, what Scout to Hunt is a visual data platform. That's what we call it. It's a hunting research platform. Basically what we do is we run and operate a private system of trail cameras. We have a dedicated field team that manages that, all in-house. And we cover Utah, Eastern Nevada, Northern Arizona, and Colorado currently. So what happens is all the data that comes through this system is uploaded to the visual data platform. We organize it and present it on a regional basis. So you can't see it here, but on the platform we have what we call sectors, which are hexagons that are about 45 square miles of area. And the images are somewhere found, spotted, taken from somewhere within that region. But we don't show or say exactly where those are, those camera locations are for a lot of reasons. But what happens is it gives you a general perspective, objective information of what might be out in the unit. So on a personal level, for the individual hunter, they're able to get information on their own to confirm the type of quality of game that might be out in a unit, whether it's during application season and they're trying to figure out where to apply. As well as during the season, they're able to use that as a reference point to go put boots on the ground and do the hard work from there. So it's just a general idea of what may be out there. There's tons of does, like you guys have seen, tons of does, cows, small bucks, small bulls, all mixed. Because we're not scouting for the person. We're saying, hey, that's where you find the big buck or bull. That's your job. All we're saying is objectively, this is what occurred in this large region, and you can interpret that however you want.
Okay. So someone that, say they don't have any time to get out ahead of the season or something, or they want to hunt a unit that they've never been to before, right. This is a good tool that they can use to kind of potentially scout the unit, see what kind of class of game is in there. Yeah,
just get an idea, a rough idea what the expectation would be in terms of what they might see once they actually go out there and glass and put boots on the ground. Yeah.
How long have you guys been up and running?
So we officially launched August 1st of last year, 2017. So we're still pretty fresh, still pretty new, but we're chugging along.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I know you recently launched your app too. Before you were just kind of a web-based, website, but now you have an app, which I think could be a huge benefit.
Yep.
Not everyone's sitting behind their computer at all times.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
most of the time they're sitting in bed, right? They check Instagram, and then the next thing you get check Scout to Hunt and make sure.
Yeah, right.
See what's going on there. Yeah.
Right on. And we got Rocky Dettamanti. We've been friends for some time now. Mm-hmm. You've joined the Scout to Hunt field team.
Yeah.
Right?
So what I do for Scout to Hunt is I run out and I check trail cameras for them. Everything that we do, we don't use the trail cameras that transmit images to anybody. So we're boots on the ground. We're out there walking around getting those.
Every camera has to be physically checked.
We go physically pull the lock off it, pull the SD card, put a new one in, and then send that back so that way it can go through and sort out all the cows and all the people and anything else that we might not, that people really don't care about seeing on the website. And so that's my job with Scout to Hunt, and it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed being able to go out and check them.
How often are these cameras being checked?
Right now, it's less often than we would really love for it to be, but our goal is we're trying to get to them once a month in the slower times of the year, like through the winter and spring, and then we're trying to get to them every other week through the hunts, just so that we can have the most current and up-to-date relevant information for people to have on the website. It's all about our users.
Gotcha. So these are all cameras that are owned by Scout to Hunt.
100%.
All
we keep a tight dish on that to maintain the integrity of the data, because who knows if where it comes from if they just hand us their information. So we don't buy information, we don't take information. It all comes from these, the cameras that these guys are pulling. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. I've had a chance to look around at your website and the app before, and I definitely see some advantages to it. I also have heard things, and I'm sure as you have too. What are some of the negative? What's some of the negative feedback you're getting?
Well, I'm going to flip that on you. What's the negative? What are your concerns?
Let's take Ben. What kind of?
Of course, the second it goes negative, you're like, oh, let's bring him in.
Put it on this guy.
No, and I don't have really any official association with Scout to Hunt. I've been lucky enough to go out with Rocky and check trail cameras, just recreational really for these guys. And I think most of the negative that I've heard about it seems to be misconceptions on the fact of whether you're selling a specific animal, which is funny to me in a way because it's okay as long as you call it a guide outfitter relationship. Then you can sell an animal, But don't, heaven forbid, you do it online, right? But I'm sure it's just mostly misconceptions that are out there about selling animals. That seems to be the big one that's floating around. As well as I think anytime you come out with anything like this, you'll have the hardcore crowd that says, "Oh, do your own work, do your own scouting," and I think it's a misunderstanding. Once people look at this app and once they look at the website, it's just a new tool, similar to some other ones that are on the market.
Well, and he talks about doing your own scouting and things like that. I mean, our subscription is $149.99 a year as of right now, and one trail camera that we run costs about $150. Then you have gas to go check that trail camera. Then you have the time it takes to go check it, SD cards, batteries, and it is. And I mean, if you want to go run multiple trail cameras in different units, I mean, you're looking at a couple grand just to run trail cameras for a year if you really get into it right. But this is for the guy who works a 9 to 5 and wants to be with his family and spend weekends with his family, who doesn't want to go running all over just checking trail cameras and have zero time to do those other important things. And so he can buy the subscription for much less than a trail camera
or the gas to run out there. Right?
Exactly.
2 trips out there, one trip, depending on where you're at.
It's a huge money-saving venture for the do-it-yourself guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. I think there is some misconception. I mean, first time I heard about it, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Are you guys serious?
Yeah.
But the more I got to understand what it was really all about, what you actually did, I could see the advantages of it for people.
Yeah. Sure.
I think there's guys out there that this is not a tool for them.
Right.
Those guys have the time to get out there. They pound the hills. They know where they're going. They know what they're looking for. But I definitely see the market value for a service like this.
Yeah. And the main thing, at least from our perspective and from the get-go, has been working with you guys, like the community, right? Mm-hmm. And getting all the input and figuring out what it is that provides value for you guys and makes sense and doesn't, cross the line that we want to hold, that standard that we have out in the field in terms of hunting, right?
I mean, guys are pretty private when it comes to their hunting spots, and I could see their side of it and being like, what are you guys doing? That's my spot. Like, you're giving up my location. Where you have your sectors. When you first got started, you actually had exact trail cam locations. Rocky and I, we put it to the test out in the desert, and we went and found cameras. I'm like, there it is.
And that was the reason why. Because we originally thought, hey, we should do it by a region, not by a sector, but just split the units, right? Mm-hmm. But we're like, dude, how are they going to know that we're not bluffing, right?
Well, yeah, I wanted to prove you wrong. I want to be like, is this camera really where they say it is? Like, why would they tell someone where this $200 camera is?
Right. Mm-hmm. And so it was a fine line, and we started with that, and then the community is like, no, right?
Yeah, right.
And we had that idea, that expectation, but we were trying to weigh the balance. And so once we got that feedback, we're like, all right, let's change it, and we designed the sector, which has been positive.
Yeah, the sector definitely helps you find that I guess kind of fence area where you can still show what game is out there, but without getting too private, too personal, stepping on people's toes, so to speak.
And the other thing a lot of people worried about with that is if we're giving away an exact location, then a lot of people just go sit that water hole.
Yep. Right.
They'll go sit right there and watch it, and we don't want that because that's just going to cause overcrowding and things like that. We want you to go find out where those animals actually are during the day, and where you're going to be able to hunt them best, and not just have 20 guys sitting on the same water hole because they saw it on our site.
Right, and kind of the whole selling the location of an animal thing. A lot of people think because you have a picture of a critter in a certain location that critter's there,
Right.
which is not the case.
I'm good at getting trail camera pictures of deer, but I'm bad at killing deer. So it seems kind of the way like it is. But you guys talked too about the number of people in the program being capped, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that's another thing. Kind of working with the community, we've done what's called the limited membership system, and so proportional to the amount of coverage we have in the system, we cap how many memberships we accept, and that is to help in terms of the fear of concentration. So it's more distributed.
Okay.
So as we add more sectors, we open those seats. But if there's a cap, if we've met that cap and there's no more sectors being added, we don't accept any more people. So
Well,
That's interesting.
and again, it's all about the users. Like
Right.
we don't want to just be like, oh, hey, thanks for buying our subscription. Now we're going to try and give this to as many people as we possibly can. We're trying to say like this is actually going to give you an advantage over the next guy to have this information. Not just that everybody and their dog is going to have the same information.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole point of it, is to support the individual hunter. There's great resources out there, but a lot of it, can be speculation or hearsay, and so you just never know what's going on. And so on an individual basis, having something to verify on your own is a positive, and that was kind of the goal.
So what states are you guys currently running cameras in? Where can people be expecting to use your services?
So Utah is kind of the main density, focal point that we've had. All last year we heard nothing but Colorado. You guys were one of them, telling us that to work out Colorado. But so that was kind of a focus this year. So Colorado, Utah, Eastern Nevada, and Northern Arizona currently.
Okay.
Is, to answer your question.
Yeah. Ben, how do you feel like this could be a useful tool for you? Do you see any value in it for you?
Yeah, as for me, I run my own trail cameras pretty much, as a lot of guys do now. So for the hunting side of things, branching out of state is going to be helpful. I feel like where I won't have to drive out of state and set trail cameras, but the main reason I liked about it, the first time I ever saw it, I was like, oh, I want to use that for finding sheds. And that, I think, is going to be my primary usage, to find out where the bulls are during a certain time of year, where the bucks are during a certain time of year. I can go on there and check it out and see. So that's something that definitely piqued my interest about it. It's the shed aspect, because that's all I can think about. It's the way my brain works.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge benefit of just keeping. Well, obviously, some of our snowed-in cameras aren't going to be of much benefit through the year, but our lower elevation cameras are super beneficial just for that, because they are up year round. And if they're cameras that we can check year round, then we were just looking at a deer today that we're getting later on in the year, where deer are getting ready to start shedding. We can say like, okay, he's been around here, and we might go start gridding that area and trying to find his sheds. So it is beneficial to have that year-round resource, and then you're not having to drive around and go check your cameras all year round either.
Yeah. Have you guys had success yet finding the shed? Yeah, using it to get in the shed area?
I have had success. Actually, we went out and checked on some of these cameras, and we found a herd of bulls. And that's the biggest success I've had so far, because they haven't dropped yet, and I haven't gridded it yet because it's too early in the season. But just starting to kind of look at it, I think this year will be something that helps us. Have you guys had some pretty good success stories come back with people using it to take animals?
We had a few. Do you know Sam Andrews? Yeah, that was one of the best. He had a really great bull on the boulder, and he said he never would have been in that area if he hadn't had that information.
Right on.
And he was still out there, for I think 2 days.
Right.
Glassing and working. He just had the general area to go focus on. You know what I mean? Starting point, and that's what it was. And he tagged that great bull.
Exactly. This doesn't cut out any work for you as a hunter. If you still want to be successful, you're going to have to hide. Well,
then I'm not buying it.
There's road hunters out there.
I want all the work cut out.
If you got the Dettamanti luck.
But no, like we went over the Oak Creeks that one time, and we're using this resource, and and we still didn't even end up seeing an elk. We knew they were there because they were on the cameras, but we didn't end up finding them. This isn't killing the animal for you. It's not telling you, okay, he's going to be here at this time. This is just like we're saying, it's a starting point.
Good starting.
It's to say there's this caliber of buck or this caliber of bull in this area, and you can go out and find him.
The areas are 45
square miles. Approximately, yeah. And that's a large area you have to cover regardless of what information you have anyways.
Exactly.
So, yeah, exactly. But now, we have these new cameras that, produce force fields that hold the game. Like the game walks in front of it,
It's like
boom.
a magnet.
Stuck.
Right
So now
there.
you know exactly
You
where
just
to
go out there and shoot it. Pistol whip the back of the head. Done.
No.
It seems like it's one additional resource into. I mean, we've got all the harvest data. We've got numbers, provided by states. A lot of times you get a good overview of the land, what resources are around the area, even pictures of the terrain.
Yep.
But this is, I feel like, one more piece to the puzzle,
Right.
to help someone really figure out if that's an area they want to hunt or not.
Yeah, I've been using Google Earth for years. I use Google Earth. I use some of these other companies, like I use Onyx forever. Like, there's a lot of these mapping companies and systems that I use, and for me, it's just like another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, oh, now I don't have to scout anymore. It's just going to be another tool, and I think it can be a valuable one.
Exactly, just the same way Onyx helps you when you're going into a new area, helps you track where you've been so you don't get lost and things like that. Like, you're not going to use Onyx in places where you've already been and you know the terrain. You're not pulling out your Onyx maps every 5 seconds.
Yep.
But it's a super useful tool for new areas that you've never been to, and we're just trying to fit right hand in hand, not necessarily with that app, but we're trying to just be another tool, just like Ben was saying, to help people in new areas, help them get their feet on the ground, and just help them out with that.
Amen.
What do you think your biggest challenge is with your company right now?
Well, as you can imagine, it can be costly, right?
Right.
There's which is it's a kind of a pro and a con, because it's a barrier to entry. So we're not worried about any competition. Because and he knows, man, it's labor intensive. There's a lot of coordination. There's a lot that goes behind it. So that's kind of a challenge. And obviously we go by the permits, and we have the licensing and everything like that. So we have to, like anything with the government, you got to wait, so there's a time factor. And so in terms of expansion, that can be a challenge. And I think the other challenge, the main one, it was what Ben was talking about earlier, is just the misconception, right? And it's such a new idea,
right?
That people don't have anything there's no precedence, there's no reference of like what this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when they first see it or they hear about it, they're thinking, oh man, you're selling locations, or you're just another Onyx Maps, or they try to fill in the dots.
They try and compare you to something else that they already know.
Exactly. And so they if there's no proper education, they just get stuck with that idea, and it's no fault of their own. It's just they don't have anything to work with. So that's been the challenge, and that's kind of our focus, being here as well, is just being, hey, come learn what it really is. Yeah. And once they do, they're like, oh, yeah, all right, well, that makes sense. That's not what I heard, but now that, it's cool. You know what I mean?
So apart from these type of shows and venues, is there any other way that people can test out your services for themselves for a trial period per se?
Yeah. So we have due to the nature of the product, we have a 24-hour trial.
Yeah.
That's for the desktop at scout2hunt.com or on the mobile app.
Okay.
So they can go and register, and for 24 hours go around, poke around, and see what's in the sectors, and that data, obviously, Rocky's one of the guys. They're pulling those cameras. That data is always coming in certain areas throughout the system. So there's always something new to look at.
And it's addictive. Like, I usually go check my Instagram, and then I'm going and looking at Scout to Hunt. Like, it's become my new Netflix. Like, it's something you just want to go
chill.
do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it's instead of watching House of Cards or whatever, I'm watching looking at bucks and bulls and deciding, like, hey, maybe I want to go try this unit sometime. It really is like it's how when you open your phone, you automatically hit that one app. It's becoming that for me, just because it's a product you really need to use and just see to realize like how cool and how like useful it is.
Trail cam is addictive, man.
It's so bad.
I love it. I love the rush of like actually seeing the new pictures come in and stuff. I love that.
Except for when you hike in, 4 miles and it's gone.
Yeah, right? Dude, that was brutal. Yeah, we had a chance to check some cams for these guys that were not there.
Yeah, I think out of the 8 we went to go check, 4 were gone.
It's kind of heartbreaking.
It is.
Wow.
That's not a good ratio.
No, it's very low.
Gone.
Very low.
Yeah.
So, I don't recall if it was on the phone call that we had. Oh, I think it was on the phone call, but I don't know if it was you or one of the other guys, because we kept dropping calls.
I know, dude, it sucked. I apologize.
But one of you had mentioned that you were hoping to start tracking possibly migration routes, wintering ranges and things like that, and seeing what's where at certain times of year, and comparing deer on one camera to deer on another camera, from region to region.
I can't remember. So we are working on like what proprietary analytics that are derived from the visual data, right? So analytics you can't get anywhere else on a sector basis. It's not necessarily in terms of patterning, right? Because the scale of the system isn't really meant for that. It's more for general information, right?
Right.
But we are getting analytics in terms of, the time of activity, because all the metadata from each image, gets scraped, and we're able to see, we can display, the peak times of activity within that sector, right? Time-wise, and then the ratios of genders and the ratios of species and stuff like that. Those are kind of the analytics that are involved. I think what you may have been referring to is kind of the long run. Over time, when we have maybe like a few years of data, we might be able to see something that kind of goes along with that.
Right.
But in terms of like a small scale patterning, that won't ever really happen.
Right, yeah.
But,
That makes sense.
Did that answer your question?
It does, yes. I wondered, I guess, if you had plans to maybe work with local officials and things to sort of
Gather that information
gather
for like
that information,
DNR officials and things
provide
like
that
that.
information to them.
Yeah,
if you had it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're investigating and probing some options to get information in there like that, and also to work with the local fish and game and all that, because obviously they have important information. They're there for a reason. So yeah, that in the long run, that's definitely a plan.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
So how many guys make up Scout to Hunt from your management side to your field team side? About how many people do you have working for you?
So we got 5 original guys, and then including Rocky, we have about 25 field team members.
Now, is this a full-time job for everyone? Is this part-time? What?
So the field teams, it's kind of up to them. They decide
Pick their
what
hours,
exactly, yeah, and it's just on a camera basis kind of deal. I don't know how much you're running. He kind of just does it like with Ben, like, hey, we're going to do a shed hunt. Let's go get some cameras and pay for our trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For us, for the partners, it's full time, yeah. Especially our IT guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for me, just like you were saying, it's on a per camera basis. So like I'm contracted to check a certain number of cameras and to check those, like I was saying, once a month or every 2 weeks during the hunts. But then, like he said, if I'm traveling somewhere to like Nevada, like we went and checked a bunch of cameras in Nevada with Ben, I was planning on kind of going out there anyway, and I wanted to help these guys out, get as current of information as we could for this expo. And so I made a trip out there and we did it, and then just for every camera we just get a little payback. It's not like I could make this a full-time job. I'd have to check a lot of cameras pretty often to make it a full-time deal. But it's fun on the weekends. Take the family, just go out there and drive around and go look at cameras and go see.
Kind of multi-purpose your weekend.
Exactly.
Around it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just had a really great question.
And then it went.
It's gonna come back. Oh man,
You should have taken a trail camera picture of it.
Yeah, right.
I was looking into your pretty eyes.
Oh well.
Wow.
It's one of those
Just teasing.
podcasts now, huh?
No.
I have a good question. Is that sushi burrito any good? You tried it down there?
Sushi burrito.
Yeah, I keep
Primo.
Isn't that what
seeing
you
it.
said?
I ate it. Yeah.
Yeah, was it good?
It was good.
I'm gonna
I mean,
get one. I'm starving.
Oh, I remembered my question.
Brought
There
it
you go,
back.
sushi burritos. Yeah,
Sushi burrito, just
Sushi
sushi
burritos,
burritos.
thank
Don't
goodness
worry.
for editing.
So, how are you picking locations for cameras? Is this something the management team is doing? Is this something the field team is doing? Is it a collaboration between the two?
It's a hybrid. Yeah, it's on. A lot of these guys, especially Rocky, there's a few of them that are pretty autonomous, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so they kind of figure, and if they don't find a good area, they'll go change it. And yeah.
Okay. Are you spread out between limited entry units, general units? Is this kind of
Yeah, all
both
over.
sides?
All over. You got your general, you got your OTC, and then you got your limited entry. Within Utah, and it's kind of the same thing throughout the other states. And then that's all public land, all BLM forests and all that. So
Okay. You don't have any cameras you run on private land?
no private, no private. Yeah,
What about national parks?
Gotcha.
Dang it.
I know. I know.
It's too bad.
And when I first heard about it, of course I thought of the huge undertaking and time and money to just run this system. It seemed it seemed
It's a lot to get your
overwhelming
head
to me.
around.
Like I was like, how could anyone even afford to do this?
This isn't real.
But also, how do you deal with the safety and security of your cameers?
Well, number one, the sectors help, right? So
Right. You're not giving away
right,
pinpointed
exactly.
locations.
Exactly. It's like the life of public land, right? I mean, we all know. It's just you never know what's going to happen. we take those measures, those typical measures to try and protect them. But if somebody's really determined,
Right.
they're going to take it. I mean, we've had a guy go out and notch it out of a tree with a chainsaw. Like literally, there was a box or a hole in a tree that just took it. You know what I mean? They walked up there with a chainsaw. So it just depends.
Nature of public land, right?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and just like I was mentioning before, all those risks of all the gas money driving out there, all the buying the cameras and protecting the cameras, having them stolen, we're taking those risks on us so that other people don't have to. And so, I mean, naturally there's going to be some loss there, but these guys have done a really great job, or management has, of taking those risks with calculation, calculated risks. And making sure that we're not overextending, we're not putting out just cameras where they're just going to get stolen, but we understand that that's going to be a part of it. And so they've put that into the system and make sure that we're still able to keep everything afloat and have those types of things happen.
Awesome. So plans for this year, how is Scout to Hunt going to grow? How are you expanding?
Well, like I said before, Colorado is our focus.
Okay.
We're going to have probably about 16 or 20 sectors out there throughout the southeastern area, kind of going central a little bit. And so that's a big deal for us because, as you guys know, a lot of people from out of state, especially the Midwest and East, like if they do a Western hunt, they typically go to Colorado because obviously they're going to get a hunt, right? They're most likely going to get a tag. So that has kind of been our goal, in which we're achieving right now. So we're looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Gotcha. Something smells really delicious.
Yeah, it's that time for all of us.
Okay, well, how can people find out more? Where can they find you?
Scouttohunt.com is a good way to start.
Okay.
Instagram, social media.
You post a lot on social media.
I try.
Do little.
Sometimes I make myself look dumb.
Do a little hide and seek challenges.
Yeah,
Find this critter.
Find it Fridays. Yep.
Find it Fridays.
That's how you found your socks, right?
I got a pair of socks. I didn't find a pair of socks.
Well, that's true. Exactly. Yep. So social media, scouttohunt.com.
Awesome.
The mobile app on Apple Store, Google Play, or Android. You can get the app there. So
awesome. Can ask Ben Dettamanti, Shedcrazy. You can send him a DM, I'm sure. You can hit up Redbeard Outfitters on Instagram. Ask him any questions, or you can shoot them to us. We will get in touch with the Scout to Hunt boys and see if we can get anything answered for you, any lingering questions. But I think you are charting on some uncharted waters. You're branching into something that is very new, and with that comes a lot of misunderstandings and some opposition. I think that's with anything in life. Change is hard for people, especially growing and encroaching. I mean, the way the hunting industry has gone in the last 10, 15 years is totally a different ballgame than it was when we were kids. So I think you have something that's unique and interesting, and I definitely see a benefit for a lot of people. And hopefully they'll check it out. And good luck to you guys. I'm excited to see what happens with Scout to Hunt in the future.
Appreciate it.
There's a lot of buzz about it out there. A lot of good.
Hopefully it's good buzz.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
We're working on a lot of good.
Publicity is publicity.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, where's that sushi burrito?
Let's go.
Thanks, guys.